I think Americans really haven't been challenged to think about what they eat. I don't even think they even think about it. They've been taught a well-balanced diet. They hear all the commercials on TV advertising the meat and the dairy and the rich food. And you know, the message is so well financed that it's rare that somebody has correct information. As a consequence, most people don't stand a chance. Even if they wanted to be healthy, they don't stand a chance. Now, for those people who want to be healthy and are willing to make the change because the information that is counterproductive to good health is so prevalent, they don't stand a chance. And I think the only help is for those few people who do care. You know, who just say to themselves, hey, I got a great life, I got a great family, I got a great job, I got this fat belly and I'm sick. I want it fixed. Those people, you give them the information, they'll go for it. But I think the bulk of the population really doesn't feel motivated enough. They're not sick enough to make necessary changes, even though I would think they're sick enough. They don't think they're sick enough. And I think also the bulk of the population really doesn't think they have any real control over their future. They don't think food's important. They don't realize the profound impact that a dietary change will always have on them. And if they realize that, it would make a huge difference. But nobody's telling them. Industry's not telling them. Their doctors aren't telling them. The dietitians aren't telling them. Nobody's telling them. The statistics are that 2/3 of people are overweight in Western countries, and maybe 1/3 are obese. And it's due to what they eat. It's really not due to lack of physical activity. I think that's secondary. Secondary in the fact that they don't feel well enough to exercise, and secondary in terms of its impact on health and personal appearance. We got to get the food right first. But I really don't think people will choose that on their own. I mean, they like rich foods. They like the fact that they can eat like the richest people that ever lived on this planet. They're really comfortable with these kinds of foods. So, except for a small percentage of the population who really do care about their health and personal appearance, the bulk of the population is not going to change on their own. So they're going to have to be forced to change, and this may occur due to changes in our economics. If we developed a worldwide depression, and that's all that was available was rice and potatoes and sweet potatoes and fruits and vegetables, the health in the world would change overnight, basically. Or if we had some forced rules that made people change. Like, for example, if insurance companies, like they do with smokers and alcoholics and drunk drivers, they say, hey, we're not going to insure you, or we're going to charge you a huge premium for your abusive behavior. Now, if that happened, if insurance companies made those kinds of rules, then people would pay attention. They'd change. It's money out of their pockets if they end up doing the wrong things. So insurance company says, okay, if you eat this rich Western diet and we can see it in your cholesterol and your blood pressure and your body weight, then you're going to be charged 3 times as much as somebody who doesn't. People will change. The human being is designed to live on starch with the addition of fruits and vegetables. And animal products do not add to better nutrition. I mean, that's basically the way to look at it. When I started putting together the McDougall diet, as a lot of people refer to it, about 30 years ago, I started with the premise, what would be the best diet for people to eat to be in good health and to look their best? And I came up with a starch-based diet, you know, rice, corn, potatoes, beans, a starch-based diet with fruits and vegetables. And then what I would do is I'd play these mental games. I'd say, well, what if I added dairy? Would that make an overall positive or negative impact? And the answer was it made a negative impact. Well, what if I added chicken or fish or beef? And it all came down to, well, I'd be adding things like calories and maybe some vitamins and minerals that may be in larger amounts. But the harm that I added by making that addition to the starch-based diet far outweighed any benefits. So the simple answer is that people not only do not need animal products to be healthy, if they consume them in significant amounts, they'll be sick, just like Westerners are. They're sick and fat. People are always telling me that they're going to be saved by their heredity, their good genetics. And they point out that Grandma and Grandpa, they live to be 85, 95 years old, eating bacon grease on their bread. And, you know, that may be in part true. I mean, genetics are an important issue, but Grandma and Grandpa didn't live the same way that we do. I mean, pesticides and all these environmental chemicals only became an issue after World War II. And they ate out of their garden, and they worked hard all day long, and they spent time out in the sunshine, which is very important for good health. So it really isn't the same. And people, when they really look at the overall picture, they're not being saved by their genetics. And so I certainly wouldn't count on that. The issue of whether or not we should eat animals takes us along many different paths. The path I took was one as a doctor. I mean, I was interested in people's health. And what I saw is that people who relied upon animal flesh or animal byproducts like eggs and dairy products, they got fat and sick. And some of the reasons are identified easily by terms such as cholesterol and fat and lack of fiber and so on. But it's basically the wrong food for people is to eat animals. Now that's the original road that I took, but there are other issues too that become even important to me, in fact very important to me. There are issues such as the environment. And we're basically eating the earth to death by consuming all of this livestock, and this has got to change. And so I speak out vocally these days about the fact that you have to change your diet not only to save human health, but you have to change your diet to save the environment, and it's got to be done quickly. And then there's the issue of animal rights, which I can also sympathize with and give some very important credence to. So, yeah, it's wrong to eat animals, no matter how you look at it. I'm going to still emphasize the health issues and hope that inspires people. But to tell you the truth, I really think the change is going to come because people realize how much destruction they're doing to the planet by their behaviors. The U.S. healthcare system is a system based on profit. I mean, it's just out there to share a lot of money is basically what it is. If its intention was to really make people healthy, then it would be a very unprofitable system. As it is now, you got the commodity, which is sick, fat people, which everybody's getting fat off of, so to speak, economically. The doctors are getting rich, the drug companies are getting rich, the hospitals are getting rich, the insurance companies are getting rich off of all this sickness. After all, the bigger the business, the more money these insurance companies make. And so all the financial incentive is towards sickness. Now, we could change all that, and that would take some really strong manipulation of the rules. We could punish insurance companies and doctors for sickness. We could make it such a system where a doctor would be paid upon the patients being healthier. We almost had that. It was called capitation. It went by its way about 10 years ago, but under the capitated system, the doctor got a certain amount of money to spend on the patients. And what was left over, the doctor got to keep it. And so it was really to the doctor's advantage to keep the patients healthy. It never got around to that, but it could and it should. So if you change the financial incentives in our healthcare system so that good health, good function, and a good diet were the rewards, then we'd see a change in our health overnight. I've been at this now for almost 35 years. And when I originally discovered the things that I discovered 35 years ago, I went to my chief of medicine. I was a resident in internal medicine. And I said that 80% of the problems that I treat are caused by diet, and most of them would be cured if we changed people's diet. And of course, he got upset with me. I thought it would be just a matter of months, if not years, that everybody else would discover this and the whole world would change. That was 35 years ago. I don't see things as any better for the bulk of the population. What I see is there are a certain group of people who have taken advantage of this information and made changes. It's just like with cigarette smoking. Intelligent people who have high levels of self-worth don't smoke. Who smokes are teenage girls and blue-collar workers. It's the same thing with other abuses that people do in life, is that those who really get a bang on life, who really enjoy life, who want the most out of it, they pick up this good information about habits and diet, and they put it in their life, and it changes everything. So, my realistic belief is that we're only going to get to a small segment of the population, and it is important that we get to these people. I consider myself one of these people, and I think our audience is that kind of person. You want to have a better life, and so you want this information. But I really don't plan on all of the public understanding what to do and making changes. Just like, look at how many people smoke these days and abuse alcohol and don't wear their safety belts. There's always going to be the bulk of the people who just don't get it or don't care.